I'm sick. I spent a lot of time sick growing up, and I realized that on top of feeling crappy and actually being sick, there are some added bonuses, we'll say, that I feel don't really get talked about. So I'm here to talk about them. I'm Jaden Zipper. Thanks for tuning in, and you are listening to the Jay Z podcast. When's the last time you've been sick? Maybe it's today, like me. Maybe it's last week or last month or last year, for all I know. But everyone's been sick, and everyone experiences the problems that come with it. Regardless of what you have to take time off from your occupation to get nursed back to health. You spend days with zero productivity because of how badly you feel. You have no drive to get any work done. And on top of all that, most of the time you're stuck in bed. You can't exercise, you can't do anything fun. So let's break down all the negative side effects that come with sickness. Now, the first one, this isn't a side effect, but obviously, being sick itself, you feel terrible. Something, if not multiple things, is hurting. You take medicine and you got to drug yourself just to make it go away, relatively quickly. Can't let it stick around. And obviously, that's no fun, and everyone has a shared experience of it. So, you talk about it with your friends, everyone's experienced that. But something, what about the other stuff? People don't talk about the other stuff. So, let's talk about like athletics first. You're stuck in bed, you can't run, you can't work out, you can't play sports, and not only are you losing out on potentially days of building muscle, but a lack of exercise means that you're actively losing muscle. So setting you back to even, where you were before you got sick. Socially, this one isn't as important or relevant, I'd say, but naturally not being around people means that you're gonna miss out on some group events, and being by yourself, of course, adds loneliness to the list of bad feelings you're probably already dealing with. And finally, this one's the big one, but school or work or even both for some people, it's definitely the worst one because it starts well before you start taking time off, and it ends up echoing for weeks after it's over. See, when you start to get sick, even before you realize you're getting sick, your body's already slowing down to fight whatever it is you're dealing with. So you're gonna have less motivation to get things done. You're gonna work slower, and all of it's gonna lead to all of it's gonna lead you to start to fall behind. There's gonna be less productivity coming. So the worst part is actually having to take time off, obviously, because you're already falling behind, and now you're missing whole days worth of assignments and lessons. You're falling behind even further, and when you finally go back to school or work, and you're still getting over your sickness, first of all, so obviously you're not back at 100 yet, but you still have to keep up with all your current work while simultaneously catching up on all the heaps of work you haven't finished yet. So you're going to be behind. You're going to have to you're going to have to multitask. You're going to have to get a lot of stuff done at the same time. You might be doing things in class that you haven't even gone over yet because you weren't there. So you're going to have a lot of catching up to do, and all this extra work, some people get it done at nighttime, but that's less sleeping, and you're not sleeping as much. You're not going to get healed as fast, so you're going to be sick for longer. um, so that's even more time you're going to be dealing with whatever you are, and even more time you're going to have to deal with all these side effects. So I mean, listen, getting sick, it's a part of life, obviously, and you can't expect the world around you to stop moving while it waits for you to recover. However, I do think that the current system is kind of flawed in the way that we go about thinking about people being sick, and the way that we deal with it. Take some time off, it's fine. Take a few days to get better, because obviously in what we just talked about, I think that doesn't work great for everybody. And I think there should be a serious discussion in society about what we could do to work towards fixing this problem. Once again, I am Jaden Zipper. Thanks for listening, and this is the Jay Z podcast.